Happy Monday, everyone. Welcome to another Monday Night Live with Simon and I. Got Bill McPherson on this week from Graphite Design. So we're really excited to have him on. It'd be very important to have a microphone.
Very useful.
Very useful. Welcome to Monday Night Live, 6 p.m. Been a bit of a stress with OBS not working, so a little apologies for being a little late. So Bill from Graphite Design.
Yeah, and Bill's been a good friend of ours for years. We've known him a number of years and seen him regularly at the PGA show. So Bill's worked with Graphite Design for and distributed through North America internationally for them for a long time. So it's great to have him on today. Actually, speaking of Bill, we might as well bring you on now. Bill having a few problems with some of the link to Bill, so apologies. Stuart and I didn't realise we were still streaming live, but so sorry, a few issues here and there. Thanks for staying with us. And so ultimately, we're going to be talking to Bill about Graphite Design as a brand, so well known from players like Shigeki Matsuyama playing the shafts, Tigers play the shafts, and distinctive colour scheme that we all know. And hopefully, we've been able to get him back up and running. If not, I'm sure we can redo another time. But we'll see whether tech can not fail us this time. In the meantime, if anyone's got any questions about them, any of the shafts, I can answer as many as I can, and hopefully we can get Bill back on to give us some more technical info about them. It's an interesting time for them. Just launched a new shaft. It's had a little bit of coverage recently in the golf news. Justin Thomas starting to use it and doing very well at a tournament a couple of weeks back. So, something where there's always been a good amount of conversation regarding Graphite Design. As a brand, quality materials, understood to be one of the best products there are out there. So, something that hopefully we can get that link back up and running, and get some tech info and some background and talk about what makes them really different. So, fingers crossed. Poor old James is having a torrid time of it the other side of the camera. So, our sympathies to James over on the background.
So while Matt speaks to Bill, and hopefully we'll get the audio back. Been a good week this week on the back of Matt Fitzpatrick. I assume he got over the line.
He did, yeah, he did. It was a long wait. Marcus Armitage was out on course because they made it so that all the pros played all the three courses. So today was the last of the 3 rounds on the various courses, and Matt shot 66 today, or finished off a 66 today, and Marcus Armitage looked like challenging late on, but Matt just got over the line.
It's a great event. I've been there many times working the 3 golf courses, Carnoustie, Kings Barnes and St Andrews. Have you played the 3?
No, I played Kings Barnes and St Andrews. Carnoustie is one I'd love to get to. I think that's one where they always say that's the hardest one. I mean, you've caddied up there.
Yeah, it is the hardest one. It's the finish that's so strong with the 17th being the hole, obviously famously with Padraig and Sergio Garcia in the Open, all that way back. But 16 as well. It's a long par 3, 220 yards, 230 yards, an elevated green, drop off to the left. Yeah. It's really awkward as a hole to make a 3 and a 4 and a 4. And, my memory of the 18th at Carnoustie, unfortunately, was Nick making 11, I think, down the last there, which was as an unpleasant experience. Shot 86, I think, and then we backed it up the next day at Kings Barnes with 68. Very nice message came in through Thomas Bjorn. He said, good on you, Nick, for hanging tough and shooting a good round, second round. But yeah, great golf course. Good strong finish. Hogan's Alley. There's so many holes on that golf course that you either hitting a great shot or you're picking another one out the bag.
I mean, that tournament in particular with the amateurs that are there as well. I mean, that's something that I'm assuming it was an joint amateur that tournament that week.
Yeah, it's Dunhill. Yeah.
So, I mean, that must be a unique experience in itself for the players. Actually, a hard one for the players to actually. It's a very different rhythm to the round. It's a very different type of tournament. So, how hard is it for the players to adjust to that in that environment?
I think being a golf professional, the guys will play pro-ams Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So they've had a fair amount of experience with that, and of course as a youngster you're coming up and playing the Pro-Am. So I don't think it plays too much of a role in their thing. You've got a caddy, you're in your own world. The amateurs enjoying it, they're trying to stay out the way best they can. So I think really it's fairly simple.
Actually, interesting you saying that about the amateurs trying to stay out the way. I know a couple one who is partnered with a pro who was leading going to the last couple of holes. He said he got stuck in the roadhole bunker a couple of shots and felt so awkward. He just wanted to be anywhere but where he was. So yeah, I mean, it must be a great experience as an amateur to play a major tournament on major championship courses. And Kingsbarn's great fun to play.
Kingsbarns is the easiest out of the three. It really yields so many birdies from really the get-go. The greens are always spectacular. That's the thing that really surprises me whenever you play any of those golf courses up there, and links in general. I mean, when was the last time you played a links golf course and you walked away thinking, oh, these are a bit ropey? You know, with
especially
the elements
this time of year as well.
Yeah, and with the elements that these golf courses are facing, they always seem to get the golf courses in great. I mean, obviously they've always got sand base, so it obviously it goes a long way to the good condition. But I think really are blessed. Links golf, good condition fairways, good tee boxes. They're always in good shape, and it makes for a great week.
And I think it shows with, I mean, the amount of rain they had this weekend there, for St Andrews to be waterlogged for 2 days. And even now, the camera's showing today the amount of water, the standing water still on the fairways. I mean, I think they said there's something like a month's rain in 1 day. I mean, quite shocking for a links to be underwater.
Yeah, the Swilkin Bridge and the burn down the first. I mean, it was quite a sight to see it moving, the pace of the water moving the way it was, and to them to get out and finish it. 3 rounds, a lot of guys coming into this part of the year. I mean, I was looking through the schedule. Normally, Portugal Masters would follow the Dunhill, not going on this year, and it's not even in the schedule next year, which is quite interesting. They've got 2 back-to-back weeks now in Spain. Then they go down to South Africa, and then they play the Tour Champs. Obviously, Fitzpatrick was not in the Tour Champs. He needed to finish top 3 this week to get in, and he went ahead and won it. That's a decent effort.
As multiple reasons for playing well, not just it's a big event and great. All the Ryder Cuppers were there, a good amount of the Ryder Cuppers were there. It must be great fun for them to, actually quite a nice environment to come into this week to ease themselves back in, but mentally a very, very tiring week, and then a very late night on Sunday.
Big come down as well. I mean, you're playing in front of a couple of people and a go up in St Andrews. The galleries are really light on the ground until sort of Sunday. To be going from from the Ryder Cup to the Dunhill, tough come down, but I think it's probably quite a welcomed one. I'm sure they weren't buzzing off the fact they went from 30 degrees down to full wet weather gear and bubble hats. I'm sure
just
they
a different kind of 30 degrees.
And do you know what? Amazingly, I've done 6 or 7 Dunhills. I only went to one Dunhill where I had to wear wet weather gear. Every other Dunhill, we were in shorts and t-shirts. Might have had a bubble hat in the morning. But invariably, it was a really, really good weather week. And
certainly whenever I've been up to east coast of Scotland in October, it's always been mild, maybe a base layer and a sweater, but that's it. So it's not such a reliable week. And a pity on those courses to get, the old course, Carnoustie. It's a shame to miss out on the last round. But I mean, one thing we can do, seeing as we're kind of, I wouldn't say filling, but not quite as planned as we do have the 17th at St Andrews behind us that we were talking about playing.
Love it.
And seeing how we get on. So any questions we go along, we've got the tablet here to stop us glancing over at the screen so we can scroll and engage at the same time.
Simon's been on some BBC training, so he's got all of these new fangled...
We're all trying, always trying hard. But any questions at all, send them through on anything. We'll do anything relating to graphite design. We've got the new VF shaft here as well. But any questions at all, just fire them in, and Stuart and I will do our best to answer anything you have.
We believe that graphite design is going to have to be pushed back a week because we're having a little bit of trouble with the audio. So stay tuned next week, or perhaps a week after, where we get Bill.
Yeah, we'll get Bill scheduled back in. Hopefully he's going to be in, sadly not on a Monday, but he's going to be in the studio in a couple of weeks' time. So you never know, we might be able to, at very worst, we might be able to record something with him and put it out. So
a great opportunity if you're watching, give us a like and a share and subscribe, but also have a conversation with us. Come on in, let's hear what any questions you might have. on whether it's technology, any golf clubs you would like us to hit, or swing stuff,
Coaching,
anything.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, okay, let's play the 18th.
Let's have at it. Well, we've got 17.
17,
So we've got 17,
sorry,
and actually happens to be into the wind a little bit, which wasn't planned, but hey, that's the
Nice
direction.
idea.
And off the right of the back tee. But,
brilliant. Great
we
news.
do get a couple of goes at it, so we're not being
right.
too
That's nice.
harsh on ourselves.
That's nice.
So, seeing as I've set it up,
I'll give
I
it
probably ought to have a
I'll
swipe
give
first.
it two turns and a swish. 2 turns and a swish.
So we decided it'd be a bit of fun. Such an iconic hole, just and they've just been at St Andrews. There's not the wet fairways here, but there's not a lot of run out.
No.
But we'll give it a go.
Beautiful.
So when you
1 second.
oh, checking view, yeah. So when you were caddying on this hole, obviously it's such a well-known view, the shed.
Yeah.
Was there ever a sort of just go safe and go left, or was it a case of just pummel it, pick a line, pummel it as much as possible?
Well, Nick, bless him, was a little uncomfortable with his driver. So this was not a drive and a tee shot that he particularly enjoyed, nor was 18. We never had any situations on 17, but we did bounce it off the Russell's Hotel down 18.
Or if it came back in, then
Yeah,
it doesn't matter, does it?
absolutely, absolutely. But this one never really stood out as a tee shot that he found more uncomfortable than any of the others, bizarrely. You've got so much room left on this tee shot, and I don't think you necessarily, until you've been to St Andrews, and I think anyone that goes to St Andrews for the first time, what's all the fuss about? Only till you go around it multiple times. I would say it probably took me 12 goes around before I saw its real beauty.
Yeah.
The 17th is iconic purely because of the hotel. I think that's so unusual.
And the road bunker.
But I think the road bunker has lost its charm.
It's shallower than it used to be, for sure.
Nakajima trying to whack it out of there.
The sands of Nakajima.
It was super deep, wasn't it? And I think they've really toned it down, which I think is a great shame. Be nice to have that back.
I think, I think that's the nature of some of these holes, actually, how good the players are. And I know they need to get people round a lot, the amount of players that go and play it. But they can work for it.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Am I going first then, am I?
Well, you look like you were ready to. I thought
there's no
I'd
part of me
step
ready.
out
I'm
the-
still nursing a bad back. I'm going to.
So a bit harsh of me to put us off the very back tee.
No,
and,
it's all good, Simon. It's all good, Simon.
So if someone's on a-
your name's up there, so it should.
So, in case any questions come. So if someone's on a hole that makes them uncomfortable,
Yep.
are there any, coaching-wise, are any keys that you would give a player if there's a tee shot that you're not that comfortable with? What any particular keys that you would have?
It's the level of discomfort, isn't it? Ultimately, I think depending on, for Nick, it went far beyond golf swing. It started to become more about the emotional side of it. We worked on a system called Heart Math, which really deals with the autonomic nervous system, HRV. So we were using emotional.
HRT.
There was some emotional experiences that
Yeah.
we really leaned on that tried to generate emotions in him, trying to push back the discomfort of the shot. I think for most amateur golfers, I think depending on, again, the level, people don't appreciate the intensity the ball will bend at, bearing in mind where they strike it off the face. So I think, sure, pick your miss and pick the bend from either heel or the toe. But again, you need to practice this stuff. You can't to stand on the tee and suddenly whiz it up, do this and you'll feel much better. It just doesn't work that way. It happens on the range.
I think probably the most important thing is if whatever shot you're going to play, commit to it. At least just going to pick a spot and I think first pick a spot rather than just a fairway. Focus on something because that's normally.
But how many times have you heard someone just commit to it? Well, I'm trying to commit to it. You know what I mean?
It's easier said than done.
I mean, we're in that moment of cat and headlights. It's like just commit. Well, if I could just commit, I wouldn't feel uncomfortable. Because when you commit to a shot, you get a better one. But if you feel uncomfortable, it's so tough to commit, isn't it?
So at least I don't have to aim at anything off here because it's aimed down. Oh dear.
Yeah.
At least I would have played 16 holes by the time we got here.
What's the carry? What's the carry over the?
255 on the line we're aimed at.
And my next question to you is: how many times have you hit a shot over this evening? How many?
One.
Ah, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Matt, did he only hit one?
Maybe two. No, it was only one. Oh, I hit more with the second shots.
Maybe nine. Yeah, nine.
Don't be cheeky.
A quick baker's
Don't
dozen.
be cheeky. Right. So over the O, of course. I believe that's the.
Oh, look, that is a man that's been standing there
So
hitting
that's
a
a
lot
right
of
hand
golf
that
balls.
saved that. That's for sure.
I'm
I'm gonna keep one shot.
That's filth.
One shot and done. There we go. Right, one and done.
That's
triple
filth.
on head. I'm not getting any better than that. What have we got?
Oh, it's asking you to do it again.
Well, no, the names won't rotate.
Oh,
So,
right.
yeah,
I see. I see what you mean. Got it. Right. Brilliant. How far did that go? 281.
281 into an 8 mile an hour wind.
Right. I don't like my chances. Come on, Stuart. Pull one out.
Oh, you'd be
Come
good. Got the low flight into the wind.
Bullet.
Look at that. I mean, that's perfectly played. Well thought out.
Yeah, look. Pull up.
Good. Semi-rough.
That'll do.
Yeah, semi-rough. I think what we'll do as well, I'm also just going to move this across to the second shot. So, yeah, not the clearest of views because there's not a lot of topography here. But in terms of what you do, have you got rotor bunker on the left side of the green? You get a little bit too, shall we say, sort of cautious with the clubbing. There's a road beyond the green. Again, any approaches that, from a tournament player's point of view, any approaches that they would take to this hole during tournament play with a kind of run, bumble one in, try to take 5, 6, 7 out of the equation.
Yeah, I think it depends on what sort of distance you've got in, right? I mean, if they're playing 5 irons and 4 irons in, they're definitely leaving it at the bottom of the tier or just trying to, if they get one to chase up, that was always really the play. If they're starting hitting 9 irons, 8 irons, 7 irons in, well, of course, the wind's different or the tee's different. They'll be going a bit more aggressively. I think anyone that's got 6 iron or
we definitely don't in this wind.
Yeah, they're not really going for the top
196 into
tier.
an 8 mile an hour wind. It's playing 210.
I mean, the flag anywhere sort of front third, it's simple. The green's all of a sudden 30 yards longer. As soon as you get that flag up and around the bunker, it's all of a sudden a totally different prospect because the knuckle comes in and it's really awkward. But you're surprised how much you can actually go around the left of the trap and up onto onto the first green. So there's a bit of a way in that way.
Yeah, and they always say kind of play for the 18th tee.
Yeah,
some of in the Open. If you're leading, you can't go out of bounds that way.
Yeah.
But you can find no, you can't find a ditch going that way.
No.
So we've got 196.
Beautiful.
Let's see what have we got. I'm going to pull 4 on.
196.
196.
196. I'm going to go with a cheeky 5.
5 iron for me would be a couple of hundred. Into that wind, that's just not enough.
Yeah.
And also, I'm going to play for that kind of cheeky little low one.
Are you?
Just kind of try and bunt one in there.
Like it.
Which again isn't particularly sensible with a 4 iron. You've been stood static for a while, but let's see. And also, I don't want to AML one and go through on the road. So that's the.
I definitely wouldn't want to see you do that. Hit it over the back. Yeah.
So I'm going to play a little knockdown 4 iron. That's the real chicken's way of playing this shot.
Well, look, I mean, you've just knocked it down the middle, and then you've whipped it on the front edge. I mean,
so that's just as described by the caddy. I mean,
you've been standing there for the last hour hitting balls. I know you, Cooper.
I might have played that one a couple of times.
Right. It's funny because it's such a flat shot and such a straight shot. It's like so difficult to see any sort of shape and definition. I'm not a massive. I think that's hardest.
That's probably one of the hardest bit at St Andrews, isn't it? It's the lack of kind of slopes to gauge anything off.
Yeah. Oh, that was a better one.
That doesn't look like a man with a poorly back.
Yeah.
Look at that. That's just drawing it back onto the flag. Look, he's even pitched it at the top. Oh, is it going to hold? Well played, sir.
Thank you.
I think we should both quit while we're ahead.
That's all right. I quite like that one. That's all right, that. That's all right, that.
So that's the 17th of St Andrews.
That's 17%. Yeah, it's not much to it.
The problem is.
There's not much to it, really.
It's easy when there's nothing on it, and very little wind, and just stand on a perfect lie. Yeah, lovely.
Easy peasy. Anything new in the club world that's come out?
I've seen a couple of things. I've seen a couple of things that are coming out next year that I'm not allowed to talk about, sadly. Anything new that's just launched,
or that's making waves? A bit
well, look, Ryan. One of the products that we were going to talk about with Bill, in particular, was we've literally just had in the demos of the VF. And this is the shaft that Justin Thomas is playing. Well, not exactly, he's playing the 5X, but this model. And it's the latest in their line where Graphite Design have always had a lot of products in the line, a lot of shafts in their line. And actually with this one, a lot of their shafts have been a little bit more responsive feeling, whereas this one is definitely geared towards being a little bit of a stiffer handle and tip section, so a firmer feel. So I played the XC for a number of years, which has a bit of a softer butt end but a stable tip, and doing a bit of a comparison earlier, there's a noticeable amount of sensation. You've got a little bit more feel, inverted commas. That's going to vary player to player whether they like that or not, but you definitely sense a little bit more movement in the XC. This one's noticeably a little bit more stout, so for someone who's a bit more of a hitter, VF definitely a good option, hence someone like Justin Thomas putting in play, because he's got quite an active action through the ball, so that tighter tip, just giving it a little bit more stability.
Nice. And the driver head
nice
that it's on, the TSR3, that's
well, that was in case we were going to do a little bit of hitting. I've put something on that both of us could make work.
Well, let's hit it.
Higher loft than
let's hit it.
Than my own one. I'll pop us back on the.
Let's hit it.
Pop us back on the tee, just so we're playing a tee shot. This isn't. Oh, whoops. I've got to go back. I pressed the wrong thing. There we go.
Right.
Done. We're off the normal tee, so we've got a little bit more to play with in terms of distance.
It's very different look. That's a smaller head than mine, isn't it?
Yes, you're the TSR2, which is a little bit deeper.
Okay.
And the 3 is a little bit more compact. It's not that much lower spin. And so this one, relative to your Diamana, a little bit lighter. This is 66 gram. God, look at that tiger line.
Look at that. That's beautiful.
That Jigger in would like that one.
That was yeah.
So 66 grams in the stiff, it's about 68 in the TX. But a little bit more tip balance than yours, but the lighter weight kind of counters that a little bit.
Right, yeah, it certainly feels a bit lighter. Yeah.
Just turn it over a little bit. It's a kind of feel where it's a very stable butt and tip. It's still quite a stiff midsection. So a lot of the the DI, the orange and orange-white one, which is everyone knows from Tiger played it a bit, but Spieth on the practice ground at Birkdale.
Right.
That was one that he used, and that one is stable butt, stable tip, but much softer in the middle. So that one definitely tightens things up a little bit more.
Just to compare. Yeah. Yeah, it definitely feels a little.
The weight will be a little bit more even all the way through that one.
Yeah, yeah.
But a little bit more dead weight generally.
Yeah.
So, but Diamana is always, the Diamana very, very smooth feeling shafts, which is where that series, that's really the Tensei series, which is more about different materials and updated materials. Diamana range are all about a smooth feel, so that's kind of where they differentiate. They all have lower launching, stiff tip. They don't do a counterbalance in the Diamana like they do with the Tensei and the orange, but the Diamana series is all about the best feel you're going to get from a Mitsubishi product.
And that comes at a premium?
They do. I think to get ultimately the feel aspect, excuse me, is the very thin layers, good grade materials. Just like we were talking to, when I was talking to Ralph about their products last week. To get the smoothness of feel, you need to get rid of a load of resin, and so high grade materials give you thinner layers, allow you to directionally map the weave in a way that you can manage torque, you can manage stiffness parts, but you can then manage the feel out of it as well. So whereas for want of a better phrase, a less high grade material, you've got to load up more. There's going to be a little bit more resin, partly because of how you use the materials, but then you get a harder feel. So it's very easy to make a very stiff, very hard feeling shaft. It's very difficult to make a very stable, very stiff tip, but smooth feeling shaft. And so high grade materials are the only way to do that.
Yeah, I think that's something for people that necessarily haven't been fit, it's difficult to articulate. Well, you can articulate it, but you can't feel it because you won't have sensed the smoothness in a high-grade shaft, because invariably you don't see those in usual club fit.
Not in the stock. I mean, a lot of the stock shafts are versions of. Now they didn't quite stop using kind of a model that we're all familiar with. So, for example, the Ventus range. Everyone knows the Fujiko Ventus, and so there is a version of that in one or two of the brand's stock products, but it's not the same thing. It's using the brand name, but not the same materials.
And that's what I think it was Brad that was saying about OEM.
Yes. Yeah. Right. And then
an OEM stands for
original equipment manufacturer. So
that's purely because I've forgotten what it meant.
It's not a memorable phrase, really. It's easier for letters.
But
a lot of that's marketing.
Yeah. So that would be. So this Diamana shaft could be in. I'm only using this because it's held in my hand. This could be in a tailor-made head, but it wouldn't be the same quality as this Diamana shaft.
I think any time you get a model like a Diamana or the Ventus, or some of the Tensei Pro series that are, £250, £300 plus shafts from a retail point of view, they are not going to be the same shaft 99% of the time in a stock product, because it's just cost them too much. Right. So they're going to use a different version of it, or a model that has been a kind of an entry-level version. So what Titleist uses the Tensei 1K Black, which is more of an entry-level Tensei model. And then they've got the 1K Pros, which are their top-of-the-range, fully aftermarket versions. So what they don't do is they don't water down an aftermarket top-range model and make it cheaper. They just it's still a model that they sell, but it's just a less high-grade material. So rather than just what some brands do is they've used the Ventus and taken the word Velocor off the tip. But the Velocor is what makes the Ventus what it is. So it can be, and has been in the past, detrimental to brands who've done that and just made it look like a certain model, but then it isn't. And then you're not actually getting what you're paying for. And so that has hurt shaft companies in the past.
So if you saw one of those with the TaylorMade logoing down it, you would know that it wouldn't be the same.
It wouldn't
as
be
that
the same
shaft.
quality material. No,
Yeah.
absolutely not.
Even if
unless the driver is retailing for £700.
Got it.
Then it might be.
Yeah.
But what the shaft manufacturers won't do is they won't do bulk deals to the clubhead companies on their top grade shafts. So it's just not worth their while.
No, that's good insights. Good insights. And iron-wise at the moment, what's happening? What are we finding in the here with people fitting? What's an iron head that is being popular with mid to high handicappers at the moment?
So for mid to high handicappers, I mean certainly the Titleist range, the T200, T350 are much more playable than previous models because they retain a bit of spin, they retain a bit of launch, and they're actually really quite a forgiving head. And I mean, others, the Ping, the G430, that's always going to be a successful model. Very, very forgiving. I just think anything that's stood out since then.
Well, let's have a little.
I think those are the ones that have, on recent times. Certainly the Titleist launched not that long ago.
Yeah.
So they've been very strong. Partly it's a new product and people are keen to get it in their hands and test it. But it's also performance-wise has been really very good. So I think they've managed to get a bit of ball speed, get some forgiveness, but maintain a bit of spin, and that's really, really key for a lot of players.
Should we hit a couple of those?
I think we should.
Yeah.
Anything that's not too heavy. Matty's very kindly gathering some equipment for us so we don't have to leave the bay. So
be nice to hear.
He's clearly going to pick a horrendous shaft for us to test them out with, I reckon.
He's going to throw in Matty, the alt golfer, if you haven't checked him out. He's on
got
social.
A channel all of his own.
Yeah, YouTube.
That's a left-handed
no,
one.
like it.
Oh no, okay, no, that's all right. That's I think this is. I better tighten it up, but I think this could be good for.
This is a left-handed challenge right there. Matt didn't realise it, but it's a left-handed challenge.
Hearing me, I'm going to
brilliant.
This is not good because you're going to be much better at this than I am. On 120. Well, you can go first. Don't hurt your back.
No, that's the only worry. Flipping it around the other way. That's fine.
Well, the launch monitor won't get. Well, yeah, it could if we go all the way across there. But there's a.
Can we get? Oh, yeah, that might be all right. That might be all right.
This is destined for disaster.
Just.
Like he doesn't stand there practicing this all day upstairs in the teaching bay.
What's that? Oh, that was a bad one.
Look, it's into the hotel.
That was
all right.
a bad one.
Mind you, it's quite a tough ask to get 6 iron over the
No.
over the hotel on 17.
Come on, Stuart. You've got this.
Astonishingly good.
Oh no, it didn't pick that one.
Oh, well, never mind.
Typical TrackMan. It'll pick up a bad one and then won't pick
Well,
up
that's
a good
because
one.
it's lined up for your feet.
Yeah, well, go one more. Go one more.
Short backswing. I think
Yeah,
short
back
backswing
swing.
required.
Get a drop out of there. Get a drop out of there. There we go.
Look at that. That's
Go on,
quite
baby.
impressive, really. That's,
Go on,
that's-
baby.
Oh, it's got it on
There,
the
go
green.
Is it on the green? Go on.
Oh, disappointingly good that was.
Cheeky
I
163.
can assure you now,
126 on.
this will be nowhere near as proficient.
That feels all right. That little.
I've
club.
always been very, very right-handed. This is.
Oh, you need to go a bit further away.
Well, I
from
was
the
going to say you better. Dear, what am I doing to myself here?
Am I okay back here?
Yeah, no, I don't think you. I don't think even the people at home are even safe. I think. This could be. Oh dear. Right. Okay.
Oh look, little chop up, little cut up. That's a beautiful shot.
Look,
Beautiful
I'm
shot.
just grateful just to
Look,
make contact.
off the road. Boom. That feels okay. That.
Considering, yeah, I mean, in all honesty, I mean, I could have hit that. I don't know. Actually, I think I might have middled it, but actually, yeah. So you hit 2, I'll do 2, just to demonstrate that was pure fluke. But actually, yeah, it's a really. I think they're a really well balanced head. Actually, the heads this series feel like they actually kind of stay with the contact a little bit better. I feel like you've got a bit more club face to get away with, which clearly there must be if I can do that left-handed.
There's a nice little.
I could pull a back muscle.
Yeah.
I mean, it's consistent.
It is little Virginia. Little
yeah.
Virginia. Well, if we got this in the right-handed head, Matt, might give us a
slightly
bit more
useful.
feedback. So the T200, it's a nice looking head. to be fair,
beautiful
isn't it?
head. Yeah, I think one of the things that they've for those in terms of picking up. So it's very, very clean. They've just developed off the previous series and just updated some of the internal tech to make it just a little bit better in terms of ball speed, a little bit more forgiving.
Now what is that a 6 iron, Simon?
Yes.
I'm gonna hit my 6 iron, and then I'm gonna hit one with that 6 iron, because I'm assuming this has got a little bit more energy in the head.
Yes. Yeah. So design, slightly thinner face, a little bit more speed, a bit of a support, to the back behind the face, just to rebound the energy into the face. Yeah. But yeah, I mean the difference between the previous model and this is that this holds another 400 or 500 revs of spin, 300 to 500 revs of spin on than the previous model. So better for keeping a little bit more trajectory.
Should we go back on the range? Should we get it back onto the range, and then we can have a little look? Because I think it's quite interesting. People. Obviously we talked about this being a sort of a mid to high handicappers golf club. Understanding that there will be a time when I want more distance, but right now I'm more about.
Still St Andrews.
Yeah, still the link was beautiful, but I think it'd be interesting to see what more that gives us as distance. So this is my 6 iron. Oh look, that's very pretty, very pretty.
Yeah, so from a data point of view, when you get a strong efficiency out of that anyway, because you deliver a strong loft and therefore promote a slightly lower flight, you get a good amount of ball speed and obviously quality player. You get a good amount of ball speed efficiency to club speed, so your smash on a head which doesn't have any tech, 1.46, which is very, very strong for an iron. That's then why your launch angle is 14.5 with quite a traditional loft. Rather than someone who adds a little bit of loft, a little bit less efficient and flight it higher. So for an iron of that loft to get such a strong flight out of it, there's got to be some shaft lean and some cover.
Yeah. Whereas this probably going to come out like a cannon, isn't it? Or do we not
Be
think
interesting to see. It's not going to be
I'm gonna put you on the
ridiculous. I
spot.
mean, it is lower loft.
Well, I'll put you on the spot. What do you think my carry's going to be with this?
202.
202.
Assuming similar delivery.
Yes. I'll endeavour to do the same thing.
And I haven't seen questions come through, so apologies if there are questions coming through on the iPad I've been using. I haven't seen any yet, so. You can hear quite a different sound.
A little bit toey, that one.
Guys, that's why it's come out 4 yards short.
Oh, no,
but you can see there, efficiency 1.48. So, from a little bit more
weren't
tech
bad,
in
though.
the head,
Four-
gained a
35
little bit of
wasn't
ball
it? Yeah.
speed. And whilst the launch angle's a little bit lower, the spin's in the same kind of place, give or take 100 revs. So it's not in models gone past, that would have taken the spin down and would have just bombed and bulleted.
Right.
Whereas that's actually helped retain a decent bit of spin.
Launch a bit lower, interestingly.
Yeah, it's slightly stronger loft than yours would be.
Okay,
Their base loft is going to be 27, 28 on the 6-iron. Yours is 30 odd, I think, on the 6-iron. So that's going to make a difference to the launch angle, a little bit of the ball speed, but it's the spin retention out of this series which is what's made them quite successful so far.
Interesting. And so this would be tailor-made for someone like 16, 18 handicap up?
Not necessarily. I mean, there'll be tour pros playing this in the longer irons because of that spin retention. So I think one of the things that we're starting to see is that it's not necessarily categorising if you're a golfer of this handicap, you play this head. It's just what do you need from the club. If you want something with a bit of ball speed progression, then this head's going to give you that. If you want versus say a T100, if you want something that spins it a bit more and has a more traditional loft, then you might look to the T100 versus this. But it's not necessarily handicap oriented. There are a lot of 18 handicaps that strike the ball well and don't need a forgiving head, but actually might need something that flights it and spins it more, and then you're dialing into that.
Yeah, I mean, I asked you that question purely because I'd hoped and knew you were going to give me that answer, because I still think we have, I mean, I hear it in my bay, I'm not good enough to use those. And it's got nothing to do with your ability. Ultimately, it's how you deliver it and the club speed that you produce.
Yeah, I mean, there's some ability to it.
Yeah.
The one thing we're looking at is you don't want you want consistency of performance out of it, and so. But if someone's miss is more up and down on the face than heel toe, yes, you need a load of perimeter weighting, a load of stability. If it's high-low, actually sometimes a blade works better than a cavity back because the mass sits a little bit higher on the back and is behind the contact point. So, there's a fitting that went up the other day, which the chap went into blades in the short rounds. Now he liked blades, but some of the comments were, isn't it not remiss to go to another head? And we go, well, actually his strike his miss pattern didn't require a forgiving head in the shorter irons, and the player really loved his played blades his whole, a lot of his playing life, and loved the feel of them, and actually responded well to having a less forgiving head. So it doesn't quite work that way.
And what about the other end of the spectrum, slightly better player out there? I mean, we've just said that these are not player specific, but on the line of blades, because everyone loves to perv over a blade, right?
Yeah.
Phew, what? Blades, what are out there at the moment that are sexual chocolate?
Well, I mean, the Japanese, I mean, I've still played them years, they are absolutely stunning. Some of the head weights mean they're hard to build for a lot of players, so that's the only shame about some of those. But there's some beautiful Fujimoto blades, just stunning, simple, clean lines. I think that's part of it. It's
I think James actually put something up on our Instagram feed a little while ago.
Bring a couple of these in.
Put a club.
Yeah. So when we talk about simple, clean,
I mean, what?
those are the kind of heads.
I mean, is
that
it
we're
after the
looking at.
watershed?
So
Are we allowed to have things like that?
But I think it is that
We've got to hit
simplicity
those.
that
I mean, get a
people
shaft
like.
on them. Let's go. Let's go.
So
Let's get rid of this.
so it's the oh no, not one.
I mean, this is what we came to see, right? I mean, it's like.
But I think it is that simplicity that ultimately makes them work the way they do for certain players, and that's what gets people excited about.
I'm excited.
The look
You can
of
see
them.
I'm excited. I
So-
want to hit this bladed iron, pipe a couple out into the side. But the bladed iron has always been, I mean, a club. Yes, this is the one. This was the one that James put up on our Instagram, wasn't it? That was the one that you put up.
Yeah,
on
a
the Instagram.
little known brand.
I mean, that is just a thing. I mean, the signature as well.
Yeah.
Fujimoto.
Fujimoto, yes.
Oh, I mean, the name matches the look, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Go on, try one down there.
So MB101, so this is a later version of the MB001 that I play.
That you've got, yes.
So, yeah, and I think some of what happens when people see a blade is they see a small head and they go, I can't hit that. The sweet spot on this, the absolute centre of the head is the same size as it is on a big cavity back. It's just that you have area to get away with it on a bigger cavity back.
Sure.
So if you're visually not intimidated by a small head, then, you know,
I've always
50% of forgiveness is actually mentally how you approach the club. So
I've always been visually intimidated by a smaller head.
it's just a lovely, solid feeling club, really.
Yeah. Nobody commented
But then-
on that, but that's fine.
Yeah.
87.4, so you're a bit slower than me, that's good.
Yeah.
And you've only hit it 169. What is that, an 8 iron or something, was it?
Well, it's just a stiff swing with the blade. But I've played blades for the last 30 years, so it's something that I'm not. You know, if you're concerned about mishits, then do not play a blade.
Yeah. There is something about playing a blade, though, that makes you dial in your focus a little bit more, doesn't
there
it?
is an argument, and some people do. That's slightly stronger, but some people do actually strike a blade better because you have. You in your mind you have to. So I'll move on here. So
Love the brush metal look as well. I mean, you're going to want another look at that. I mean, that's just naughty.
So this one will swing a little heavier in the head based on the head weight. So. But it's, I think what you get from, you know, it's a piece of metal. There's no tungsten in there, there's no miraged face in there. What you're getting out of that is absolute feedback. You know, so there's no filter. There's nothing else extraneous in the head that changes the sound or the vibrations. It's just ball, club head shaft, hands, stings in winter when you thin it.
Yeah,
So.
and you could feel where that was really on the face, very
Absolutely,
confidently. It was delicious. Are we going to hit? I think we need to hit the other one as
Do you
well.
want to hit the Fujimoto?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Let's give that a switcheroo.
And the Fujimoto, obviously from Japan.
Yes. Yep.
Is this a new company?
No, not you, but they've just not been. They've not been in the UK or in Europe that much. They've been available. Like we've had them a few years now, but just smaller volume, less people aware about them. But in terms of it's a similarly clean, simple look, and ultimately just a very nicely made. I should let you go first.
It's delicious.
Very nicely made, simple club head. But I think that's sometimes I think there are players who like the feedback, like to know where the strike is, and these sort of heads. You can go to cavity backs that are still single piece heads that are going to give you the majority of the feel, but a little bit of margin for error. We're going iPhone for questions. So thank you to those that have sent in. I'm sorry that but it's probably my technical ineptitude that have meant that they haven't come through. I'm going to scroll through a few and see if I can.
Oh, we've got a few in there.
Yeah, we have. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
So
what have we been doing? I mean, we've been talking here, and you've been asking questions.
So what's the profile of Graphite Design UB? What's it comparable to? Would it be like a Ventus Blue? The UB is kind of like an updated DI. It's very similar, mid-launch, mid-spin.
DI?
DI, Graphite Design DI. So it's not a particularly low-launch, low-spin shaft, mid-launch, mid-spin. From other brands, I would say like a Speed NX Blue from a flight point of view, but just swings a bit more on the tip. If that helps.
He literally just sits at home.
Balance
and
point of
reads
UB is Graphite Design don't do anything majorly one way or the other. They might go a little bit more tip balance, but Graphite Design, part of Japanese culture is all people should have access to all things. And so Graphite Design, there are a lot of shafts that have subtle differences between them. At balance point, they've never been like a counterbalanced or a heavily tip balanced shaft. They've always been pretty neutral. So mid to lower mid, but nothing kind of stand out. I love Turtle, evening, Eric and Ernie. You haven't lived unless you hit the hotel, badge of honour. one of our caddies, when James and I played there several years back, we said, what's the funniest thing you've seen on the 17th? And their answer was that, that someone had a hole-in-one, but on the 16th green. They hit the hotel, went back over their heads and into the hole on the 16th. Nice. And their playing partners tried to claim it as worthy of a drink, but I don't think they got it. From AC, Simon, could you comment on the difference in standard driver lie angle from Titleist TSR to Stealth 2 Plus, 58.5 to 54, and why there is such a difference in a standard setting? That's purely just, it's just how they, each brand wants them to sit. They will have their own profiles and where they want the clubs to set up at. I mean, the 54 in its standard, I think that sounds a little bit flat, but there are just some drivers that have always sat a little bit more upright than others, and ultimately, the Stealth 2 Plus is designed around an anti-left at a higher speed, so going a little bit flatter technically takes a little bit of left out of it. So need to find one for Stuart here. This might be kind of interesting from a coaching point of view as well. Mark Griffin, have you tried Jumbo Max grips? Fitted one on my driver and today hit nothing but dead straight shots, but struggle with irons with normal grips. Any thoughts on why? Gain distance too. So fitting wise, the Jumbo Max, the bigger grips, although the Jumbo Max don't go heavier, which is always a good start. I think if you're someone who's on a more uniform plane and doesn't require your hands to manipulate or square the face, they can work quite well. That's why Bryson, from a functional point of view, he's not requiring he's trying to take out rotation through the ball. So if you have a swing that works that way, they can work. But if not, then most people need the grip in their fingers. But from a coaching point of view?
Yeah, so I believe that the grip is trying to hide something else. So if your swing has too much hand rotation in it, that hand rotation in there is trying to save you. So if your face is open and it rotates, it's rotating because the face is open. If you then rotate it too much, then the thickness of the grips might slow it down. But would you rather sort the face rotation out, or would you rather patch it out with a thicker grip? Look, I think if it works and it gives you a good feel, go with it.
And also, if you've got a bigger hand size, then that also is another
absolutely.
element. If you're playing a mid-size or slightly bigger, then they're going to feel more comfortable and potentially give you more hand-to-grip contact, and therefore allow your hands to relax. So too small a grip is actually probably worse than too big a grip for most players, and that creates tension. So Niels Axelsson, I hope you've recovered from the Ryder Cup hangover, gone. Mine wouldn't have yet. Graphite design question: when I got fit for my TSR 3 Titleist fitting in Denmark, I was fit well into Tensei AV Blue, but ended up with the graphite design UB. It was like someone pulled the veil from the feeling of the club head, and it narrowed the pattern. What makes the graphite design that much better than an already good shaft? Ultimately, the materials, they're both good materials. The AV Tensei isn't necessarily their top line, but they're still a very good shaft. The straightness will be a slight change in dead weight and a slight change in balance point, and just suiting how you move and deliver the club head better. It really is that. The shaft bend profile itself and flex won't change it. It just won't have an effect on that. It's just you and the club are a little bit more in sync, therefore you don't have to compensate or do anything. As Stuart just said, you're not having to manipulate to square the face, so you're just turning through it, and that's what narrows the dispersion. So just a better fit shaft. Phenomenal approach shot, gents, was also Niels' comment. Thank you very much.
There you go, thank you.
And yes, we did keep them in bounds, just. The left-hand ones, I'm assuming you're meaning those. Using a 430 Max, this is Moser 12345, using a 430 Max driver at 9 degrees, turned up to 10, struggling with overdrawing at the moment, so wondering if trying the flat hosel setting is worth a try. Yes, turning the loft up does close the face, so even if you flatten the lie down, it's still going to be a slightly more closed face to the standard setting. So that would certainly be one element of it. The flatter lie should help, but yeah, any time you loft it up, it's going to close the face. So. Question for Stu, the machine from BL. To get involved. Some players change their grip to hit draws / fades. Do you have suggestions if one wants to shape with a constant grip?
Yes. Yes, I do.
That's lucky, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes. Well, I mean, I think if you've got a constant grip, Obviously going to aim where you want it to start, as opposed to aim where you want it to finish back in the old days. But you're going to aim where you want it to start, and then all you're going to do is you're going to change the shape of your wrist going back. So if you want to hit a draw with your standard grip, just turn your left wrist down more when you swing back, and what will happen is you will hit a little bit of a draw.
It's almost like you knew that was going to happen.
And then if you want to hit a fade, as you go back, just cup it a bit more and show yourself a little bit of loft. Oh my goodness, it was going so well.
It's not your club.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Yeah, okay. That was a pole draw, so we'll go with that again. So just add a little bit more loft on the way back, and then you'll be able to hit yourself a little fade. So with the same grip. So those two things will give you fades and draws without changing the grip.
Advanced way of doing it, though, one would say. Or is it? Because I think that would be one of the. I would say, is that an advanced method, or?
Yeah. So the other way of doing it is.
Because Langer said just change the grip, change the face, make the same swing, and it shapes.
Yeah. The trouble with that is that you're looking
Easier
down.
said than done.
Yeah. I mean, whatever you're doing, you. I mean, that's one of the tips I gave on my channel, Intelligent Golf Performance, Stuart Cartwright. Shameful plug. Link in the description below. That was the way. I mean, I said, turn it, grip it, face it. My only problem with that is that when you're trying to play a draw and you're looking down at a face hooded over, it doesn't necessarily feel and look that great. So I would, give them all a go.
Yeah. Peter Cantor, capless Cantley seem to be using the AP2s. What would be the similar model in this new range? T100. In a word, quite a simple one there. Yep, T100. A little bit of tungsten heel and toe, but there's no face tech. It's just a simple, slight kind of perimeter weighted.
So is that new?
In the current range, AP2 is the previous series, or two series.
On T100, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
That
wasn't a silly question. It's just that I rarely know what's in my golf bag, so.
As long as the golf clubs are in there, you're
exactly.
okay. Also from BL, what are some scenarios that you would alter total weight versus swing weight and vice versa from a fitting point of view? Example, player gaining strength and speed. Well, actually a perfect example would be young Christos, who saw on Saturday. It feels like a long time ago. In that, Christos has grown. He's been in some 50, 55 gram graphites, and actually we made a big change. So he's strengthened. So physically putting more energy into the club, and we needed to go to 100 gram steel. So a really big change, and so that's when strength goes. Now we go the other way of someone's strength diminishing. So you drop a little bit of total weight if it's just a strength change because the balance point doesn't need to change. If someone's technique has changed and the delivery pattern's changed, then you might need to change where the weight is to suit that change in pattern. So those would be a couple of scenarios where you might use dead weight or swing weight. So I hope that answers it.
Brilliant.
No,
that was a lot of questions. I want to hit a standard one of these 6
You're going to standard one of those 6 irons. So we rattled through an hour in no time at all.
Is that what time?
Yeah, we rattled through. I think it's the unplanned stuff that.
Yeah, it's good.
So is that because it's this head you want to hit this, or was it you just want to demonstrate another shot?
No. It's this head I want to hit. No, not I'm done. The cut. So
Stuart was so thrilled with that, that decided to hit another shot there, weren't you?
Yeah, I'll do that.
But apologies for not getting the questions earlier, but thank you so much for all the for sending them all through. It really makes a great difference. Hopefully we will get this get Mr. McPherson back on before too long. If not live, then Bill will be in a couple of weeks' time. We'll do something recorded with him, so we'll definitely get Bill on screen for you before too long. But thanks so much for tuning in. Thank you for joining us, and for
My pleasure.
If you hadn't been here, I'd have been screwed. Yeah, an hour with me on my own. Well, it wouldn't have been about 10 minutes. So
tumbleweed.
Yeah, would have been a shocker. But thanks so much for tuning in. We'll have more in the upcoming weeks. We'll look forward to seeing you next Monday with more nuggets of information. But from this Monday evening, good night from him.
And good night from him.
Thanks a lot.